how to grow your business from 6 to 7 figures in just 3 months. Yes, you heard that right, in just 3 months. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Caitlin Cook and I help entrepreneurs start, grow and scale their business for a whole lot of impact and a whole lot of profit. I love to simplify the complicated to help every entrepreneur thrive. So today, as all my other videos, it's going to be incredibly informative. Get a pen and paper because what you apply here will actually help you move from 6 to 7 figures in 3 months. How do I know this? Because I've been doing this for over 10 years and I've helped many entrepreneurs in all over the world to achieve just this, and it's not complicated or as hard as you may believe it needs to be. So that is the theme of today, is simplification. So many times I meet entrepreneurs who have complicated funnels, complicated systems, processes, and there's not actually a lot of synergy to it. So what I find is so crucial in this phase of your business's growth is simplicity, because simplicity yields scalability. If everything is too overcomplicated, it is so hard to scale a business when everything is complex. And I know you're probably thinking, but my business is different. It is a complex business. It has to be complex. Believe me, I have worked with people in the medical field, in the science field, in the SaaS field, real estate. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies. I've worked with coaches. I've worked with governments. I've worked with a lot of people, and they all came to me and went, everything's really complicated. You can't simplify it. And I went through the process I'm going to take you through, and they went, oh my God, our business is simple. I'm like, yes, it is. Now, why is it important to understand the simplicity of your business? Because your business, when it's simple in your brain, which means your brain can understand what's going on. And when it knows what's going on, it can figure out where it needs to go. If it's too complicated, your brain is going to feel overwhelmed. So all of the entrepreneurs I meet at this phase wanting to move from 6 to 7 are overwhelmed because they're like, holy shit, there's so much going on. It's like, yeah, because you've tried lots of things. You've been in business probably a few years now and you've tried all the different things, which is brilliant. But what happens is when you try all the different things and things don't work, we don't let go of it. And it's the letting go of these things that did not work that allows you to simplify what is working. So what you've got from now to from where you started to now is a whole bunch of data. This data is proof of what works in your business and what doesn't. With this data, you can go, well, actually, what is working? And what I mean by this is I want you to get your financials out. Yep, we're going there. Financials. And why am I saying financials? Because we're literally talking about moving from 6 to 7 figures. And we can't do that if we don't look at your financials. So get your financials. Now, at the top line, you're going to have your revenue streams. You may have one, you may have multiple, but look at your revenue streams. This is where the simplicity comes from. Now, no, it's going to feel uncomfortable if you're not a numbers person. If you're saying, I don't do the numbers, I don't like the numbers, you're going to feel resistant to it. But guess what? You're the CEO of this business. You need to just do it anyway because this is how you grow the business. This is how you stand up as the CEO in the business because you do things that you didn't think you could do and then you do it again and again. I always export it onto Google Sheets because I love a good Google Sheet. So the way you would do that is you'll get your revenue streams and you would jot them all down. And then you go, right, how much money did I make from this? And how many customers did I receive this amount of money for? Because what we're wanting to do from the 6 to 7 figure mark is figure out the scalability of what's already worked. And the way we figure out the scalability is we first figure out how much did you generate? How many customers did you serve? And what's your process to serve these customers? Process including the system, the step-by-step onboarding, if that's how your business runs, as well as the expenses associated. Because when you expand your revenue, you're also going to expand some of the expenses. And if you're not careful, you're going to expand your time. So what we want to do is now very mindfully, intentionally, and strategically understand where to focus your time so you can scale from 6 to 7 figures because it is very possible. So look at your revenue streams. And what I would love you to do is actually list out from 1 to 5, what's your most enjoyable revenue stream? 1 to 5, 1 being I hate it, it's boring, it's horrible, to 5 being this is the most fun I've ever had, I love doing this, if I could do it more, I would. And the reason I want you to do this is because when you do things in your business that you love, it energizes you. You as the CEO want to be able to innovate more ideas to grow the business forward. The way you do this is when you're in a creative mindset. The way you get into a creative mindset is by doing things you like. each and every day that make you happy, that give you those endorphins where you're like, this is brilliant, life is great. If you're focusing in on doubling down on an area that you hate in your business, money magnifies where you are. So if you focus your time and energy on magnifying and expanding a revenue stream in an area that you hate, you're not going to overnight be happy. It's going to amplify your emotions because you've got more of it to deal with. So instead, let's focus on the areas you do like to actually work on. Now, if you're the CEO where you're like, I actually don't do that much in the business anymore, I have a team doing all the other things, I want you to go through this exercise with them and ask them what they enjoy, because the company culture at this level with the team is really important. If they're putting their resources, time and energy in things that they hate, that's only going to amplify. But if they're putting their time, energy and effort into things that they love, that lights them up, that they feel like they can connect with more customers, that's where the real shift is going to happen. So once you've got your revenue streams, then I want you to go, right, this amount I earned $500,000 for this particular revenue stream and I served 1,000 customers. Of that, it cost me $120,000 to run that revenue stream. And the process looks like this, X, Y, and Z. So now you want to ask yourself, for me to now hit 7 figures, so for me to double that, I would then have to double my customers, which means the profit, the expenses would go from 120. This is where we get a bit more granular detail. If your expenses are fixed, then you're in a good position because fundamentally they're not going to change too much. But if they're variable, that's where they're going to start expanding. And that's okay. It's part of the process, but we want to just be mindful how much more is your expenses growing. So it's a very simple and easy thing to do. And so many people don't do this because people aren't taught how to make business easier. They're taught how to overcomplicate, how to make all these complicated funnels. And it's just like, just go with what works with your company. Every company is unique to the individual. There's a million different strategies you can apply. There's a billion different customers you can serve. There are so many different things you can do, but when you've already got an established business, what works for you? It's literally tried and tested. What's already working, and just do that. That's how you get to the 7 figures. And so what I would suggest doing is there's a lot of different things we can do, but what I would suggest doing here is look at the revenue stream that you love, and let's just say it's 500K, and then you're like, cool, we served 1,000 customers at that. If we were to double that to hit the 7-figure mark, what would that look like for the team? What would that look like for the operations and the expenses? Can we do that with what we have now? Yes or no? If it's a yes, take action on expanding those revenue streams. How? You're probably asking, how would you expand on that? Look at where your customers are coming from and double down your efforts there. If it's social media, then double down the communication that you have on social media. If it's paid ads, maybe look to increase the budget so you can drive more of those results. But look at what's already working and how you can double down on what's already working. If you're like, no, the team that you have, the resources you have, the processes and systems you have in place will not support your growth, then ask what will. What is it that you need? Is there a way you can simplify the offering? Is there a way you can make it better and increase the price so you can reduce the amount of outflow? What is it that you can do to improve this? And then take the action step. The action step is imperative with this. When you take an action step towards it, that's where the growth happens. So now what's going to be really important for you is, as I said, the simplification. And the simplification literally is go through your revenue streams and what is working now, double down on those efforts. Go through your expenses. Now, this is important because there'll be a lot of things you're actually still paying for that you shouldn't be paying for. And when you start to reduce these expenses, you'll start to get more confident and you'll build that momentum to be like, I'm changing things around. I'm moving towards 7 figures. I can do this. So please update your expenses and understand what is it that you have to pay for, what do you don't. And also look at any unpaid invoices. A majority of people that I work with, they come to me and they've got unpaid invoices and it's like, tell people to pay you. So the reason we want to do this first is you want to go from the 6 to 7, and that's going to give you that momentum, drive and focus that you can be like, I've got this, I can do this. And once you've achieved it, you have that energy, that momentum of, okay, let's keep going, we can do this. And you've also got additional resources because you've got additional funds in your business. With those additional funds, you could then use some of it to test out different strategies and different ways to acquire more clients into your already existing high revenue source. So you want to to first focus in on what is working really, really well in your business. And there might be a revenue stream where you've made somewhat good money, but they're high expenses and you're like, I hate this, I don't want to do it anymore. That might be a really great option to grandfather that out in the next 6 months, or just kind of stop serving it if nobody really knows about it. And it's with this level of you're literally clearing out your financials. When you're clearing out your financials, you have clarity on your financials. When you have clarity on your financials, you can grow financially because you know where you are. If you don't know where you are, it's so difficult to move because you don't know where you're moving from, but you know where you're trying to go. But it's like, how do I get there if I don't know where I am? So in order to go from 6 to 7, you need to figure out where you are right now. What is the gap? What does that look like? And is your existing team able to support you? If you're like, my team is not great, then look at ways that you can improve your team. Either give them training or choose somebody else or whatever it may be. But you need to ask yourself, is this team going to get me to 7 figures? And if they're not, it's time to have a think. And ask yourself, am I the CEO who runs a 7-figure business? And if you're like, nope, I got work to do the work. Everyone always has work to do. And the work to do, I mean, is the resilience, the negotiation, the doing the hard things. So start doing hard things. When I wanted to shift from 6 to 7 figures, I literally started CrossFit. I know it sounds so ridiculous, but to me, everything's interconnected. So business and personal is the same. So I had to make some really hard decisions and specific decisions in my business to be more focused and intentional with where I was spending my time and energy, because I made the majority of my money in an area that scared me. I was fearful, to be brutally honest. So I was like, right, what do I need to do? I need to do something that scares me constantly so I can get over that. And CrossFit scared the hell out of me. And so I went in there and I did it, and I'm still doing it, and it still scares me and I still do it, but I have so much more confidence because each and every day I'm doing something that scares me. And so I'm able to apply that into my business. So I'm able to make the decisions more confidently in my business. So on that note, that is how you scale from 6 to 7 figures in 3 months. I know you're probably like, ugh, that's not gonna work. It is, and it will, because it's worked for thousands of people before, and it's simple. That's why it works. But so many people don't do it because it seems too simple, because we've been told that it has to be complicated, but it really doesn't. And you have the ability to look at what's already worked in your business and double down on it. So double down on what's worked, and let me know in the comments how incredible it goes for you. You have got this. And as always, my resources are down below. If you need anything else, I am here to support you every single step of the way. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. You've got this, to your success and the success of every entrepreneur.